You know, when I was a kid, my grandmother used to feed the birds, and there was bird seed there, and Dad said, yeah, you can plant that. So I got myself a pipe and put some seeds in it and put it on the windowsill. And every day when I come home from school, I'd go looking. Boy, it's the greatest thing to see that seed coming out of the ground. Locally, people desired to go and shop at a smaller venue. So we found that our business stayed the same or increased. We do pick your own in the fall. And being an outside activity last fall, boy, people really craved to be outside. And although there were a lot of people here, I got to say everybody was patient. Everybody was pleasant because they were happy about where they were at. Well, we try to diversify to be able to sell things that are retail that the public here locally would desire. Fortunately, we have a population locally that really supports local agriculture. A lot of folks government officials maybe would classify agriculture as non-skilled labor. I've heard that. There is no such thing. It is a skill. It's a specific skill. It's a skill that people that don't have it don't understand. And it's difficult these days sometimes to find people that have had the experience and the training in that skill. It's not by happenstance that things get done. It's because there's been investment in research. One of my employees who's worked here for many years, I know he's been working for the Spanish community for his medical care. It's certainly a resource that they need.
I grow grapevines. They're all Vitis vinifera European grapevines. We get grafted from New York, and they come here as 1-year-old plants, and we've been growing them for the last 11 years. This is where I grew up. This is our family farm. We just kind of were looking for something different to do, and I came across Vineyard, and I just fell in love, and we've been doing it for the last, like I said, 11 years, and never looked back. My family used to be dairy farmers, and they got out, and we have this land here, and we rent it out for crop farming and stuff. But my brother James and I decided that we want to get more into farming ourselves, so we've been slowly, taking over more and more of the land around here and doing different things. So there's the terroir of the grapevine, which is basically everything that goes into it. The soil content, the elevation, the slope of the land, the climate for the area and stuff. And we have found here in southeast Pennsylvania, we're kind of right on the border to be able to grow these European grapevines where it's not too cold, although it does get a little cold here sometimes. And we have great elevations. We put all our vines up on the hills of the farm and stuff, and the soil content was great. I didn't really have to make too many modifications to that. So the vines have just been thriving here. This is where we make all the wine.
Awesome. What about start to finish, just out of curiosity, like the grape that's picked, how long does it take for it to be a bottle?
Really, we press the juice out and the initial fermentation starts, and the reds are fermented into wine in a week, and the whites we like it a little cooler, so we try to get like a 2 to 3 week fermentation out of them, and then it's finished wine. But over the next 6 months for the whites and the next year to year and a half for the reds, we let it age to clarify and gain complexity and stuff like that.
Yeah, what do you grow?
I'm here the white button mushroom, cremini mushroom, and portobello mushroom.
Perfect. And why grow mushrooms here in southern Chester County?
Because we're the third generation, and my grandfather started the business many years ago.
What do you need to grow mushrooms?
You need spent mushroom compost, you need peat moss, you need spawn, and you need a lot of help.
All right, so what's the best time of year for someone to harvest or enjoy mushrooms?
Actually, they're grown 365. They're harvested every day of the year, no matter what. Probably the best time when sales increase is mostly during the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas. More Thanksgiving than Christmas, because Thanksgiving is more people are more stationary. And then in Christmas time, people are always moving around, so they don't sit down and eat quite as much.
Why isn't there a machine that can harvest mushrooms?
They're too delicate. There is machines that harvest them, but the quality of the mushroom will not be that good.
Right.
And you have to pick them all at the same time. So the harvesting by hand, you can pick them as they're ripe, you know what I mean?
And just tell me a little bit about the first round, second round.
Your first break mushroom produces the most, and then you get a second run, which is less, and a third run, which is even more. It's less.
So how did COVID-19 impact your industry of growing mushrooms?
It really hurt on the restaurant side of it, of course. Retail was okay, and then naturally with the COVID and the COVID shots, that's where your company really stepped up and helped us get all of our people vaccinated when we sent them down and made the appointments and really walked us through it.
So in your business of growing mushrooms, how do you interact with LCH?
I pretty much send the employees down there when they have, any sort of medical problems, or they have trouble finding places to live, daycare, anything to do with getting them into society pretty much around here.
Yeah, you got that.
Thanks LCH for being there during the pandemic. I've received my COVID shot there along with many of my employees.
Ornamental roses, ornamental woody shrubs and trees, and perennials. So we have a long history of being in southern Chester County. We have been in southern Chester County for 125 years. And really, if you know anything about this area, it is the horticultural capital of North America with the DuPonts and Longwood. So we have a long history of being able to work with other people in the horticultural industry. And we get a lot of people who want to come to this area and work in this industry. So the company started as a bulb importer back in the late 1800s and developed into the largest rose company in North America. And when we talk about roses, they're not cut roses. These are roses that you would plant in your yard and your garden. How we really became on the map was at the end of World War II, or very close to the end of World War II, one of our breeders in France sent us the last piece of parcel to get out of France before the Nazi invasion. And that plant turned into the peace rose, which at the end of World War II was given to everybody, every country that signed the Treaty of Versailles. And then it became the #1 selling rose in the country. Our company continued to grow after that. And 20 years ago, we introduced the Knockout series of roses, which became the largest selling series of roses in the history of North America. So what we really need, since we are an intellectual property shop, we need really good ideas and really smart people that work with genetics, but we need just really great employees, and that's what we really have here. We have about 53 people at this site. We have other sites across the country, but what is really great about our people is they stay. Our average tenure of an employee here at Star Roses and Plants is over 16 years. So we have a very educated workforce, and they're just very driven and just love the culture here. So the best time of year for us, spring in the nursery industry is really where everybody makes their money. But because we do so many other things, we are very busy from March through October. There is some downtime in the winter, but we're working on some other things at that time. But really, we need our labor force at those times, really, March through September. So some of the biggest challenges to have a nursery are, one, labor force, which again, I said we're very fortunate. Now, our labor force is getting older like everybody else's. We are worried about that for the future concern. So we're looking at more automation. Weather plays a huge part in our industry. Economy does, but even when we have good weather, we still sell a lot of plants. So really, we are a weather-driven industry. COVID was a positive impact for this company. First of all, we took it very seriously from the very beginning, so we kept our employees safe. We only had 1 or 2 cases that resulted from being at one of our locations. But from industry estimates, there are 20 million new gardeners out there as a result of COVID. We will now have our 3rd greatest year in our history, and a lot of it is because people are staying home. They are planting more plants. They're moving out of the cities, buying new homes and landscaping. So gardening is huge in people's hobby, and as a result, we're having a great year. I just think that getting the knowledge out there of the services that you guys have and can help our employees is what our next move should be.